Hello and welcome to another AgriCraft tutorial. Last time I demonstrated sort of possible methods for getting 10-10-10 seeds and what would be the fastest. And the fastest and most efficient is possibly the 7x7 field is going to get you closest and probably the fastest. And the line is probably the slowest, but once you set the line up, it uses the least amount of materials. It'll probably take several hours to get there. In the comments, some people mentioned that rather than wasting your time getting 10-10-10s at the beginning of the game, very quickly, mutate your plants and get as much compost as you can because you want to get as much garden soil as you can. You want to plant everything on garden soil because things will grow faster on garden soil. So I thought I would do a test of basically 3 different tests here. What I want to test is I've got crop sticks with no water. So these are farmland with no water. Oops. And once you have crop sticks down, they'll stay down and you can plant stuff in it. I have a field of crop sticks on hydrated farmland. And over here I have a field of tilled garden soil. And so what we're going to do is we're going to test to see how long it takes for a 4x4 field to grow up. And what I have is, I'm still in creative here, so I got to be careful. I have some 10-10-10 seeds, and this what we're going to do is we're going to use the 10-10-10 seeds, and we're going to see, I'll sort of measure the time. And I basically set up 4x4 plants so that we can sort of get a good average of what will happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant all of these, and we'll sort of see. And I'll set a timer so that I kind of have an idea. And this will be like, a rough estimate of what will happen. And we'll see if there's a difference between having no water or having water and garden soil. So the garden soil should be the fastest, but I guess we'll find out. And there'll be like a slight delay, because I can't plant everything all at once because I can only be at one place at one time. But so what we're going to do is I'm going to plant all of these in the corners as quickly as I can here. And we'll just let them go. And we will see how long it takes. I'm going to go to this corner here, I think. This corner. And here. So these other ones are going to get a couple of growth ticks. So we will see. It's going to take a while, so there'll probably be some cutouts and cutbacks in. But there we go. We got everything planted, and we'll let it all grow. And we'll sort of see what the growth is. And then over here, what I have set up is, what I want to test is sort of how fast, this is all tilled garden soil. All of these plots have garden soil. And what I want to do is I want to test how fast or how much basically adding sprinklers. So these are 7x7 plots will help with the growth. And then over here I have set up an agricarnation. And so the bad news is the agricarnation doesn't cover a 7x7 area. It covers a slightly larger area. So what I had to do was place the agricarnation in one of the spots. This shouldn't affect the growth to the end, but it's not 100% accurate. So I want to actually see what the difference is between a sprinkler and an agricarnation, and that's, you can hear all the musical Botania going off as it's adding growth ticks to all of the spots. And what I have over here is I have an agricarnation covering, and you can see that it's covering the entire plot. And the reason that you can see it, I don't know if I can go to my baubles here while I'm in here. Let's go to, I have a Manasseh monocle on so that you can see the range of various Botania plants. It's very handy for figuring stuff out. I believe this covers is it a 10x10 area, or is it something like that? Or maybe it's looks like it's 7, yeah, it's like a 10x10 area is what it covers, so pretty handy. We'll see if there's if both of these effects stack. Now there are other growth accelerators in the mod pack, but you'll unlock them much later, and I don't know that they're worth doing because you have the Lamp of Growth from Thaumcraft, and there's a ritual from Blood Magic, and I'm not sure if there's something in Witchery. I'm not 100% sure. If somebody knows something from Witchery that helps with plant growth, let me know. And if there's anything else in the mod pack that you know of that can help with growth, let me know. I just think that those unlock so much later that you probably won't even really need them, but you could you know, add lamps of growth, and you could add the ritual from blood magic. So what we're going to do is we're going to plant the crops on these to sort of see what the sort of effect is, and we'll do a timing, and we'll sort of figure out what's going to happen and what will grow the fastest. So yeah, I figured it would be sort of another interesting test. I'm not just going to do Oops, I'm no longer in creative. I'm not just going to do Agricraft in this series, but this is sort of the stuff that you do right at the very beginning of Regrowth, so I thought it would be interesting to cover it first. If there's something that you would like to see me cover in this tutorial series, let me know in the comment section below, and I will more than likely try and do that. So we're going to let all of this stuff grow, and we will check back in a second. Now, something else I wanted to look at, and this was another comment in the comment section. As you can see, that's growing up, so things are going, and you can see that we've got growth going on over there, so that's pretty good. So we will definitely continue to monitor what's going on with all the various fields. Okay, so the other thing that someone mentioned is that they preferred doing active sort of growth. Okay, and what they mean by that, let me just switch over to so let's go. Well, I shall stay in non cheat mode. Okay, they like to do active growth, and this is what I like to do. Oh, I got 111s right now. This is what I like to do when I'm doing Agricraft outside of Regrowth. When there's weeds enabled, you have to really monitor your growth because you don't want weeds to like take over your plants and stuff like that. So you really have to do active type growth. And so what I want to do here is I'm going to show you a couple of different active type growth things to see if there's an effect of doing the active type growth in the Regrowth mod pack, because in normal Agricraft, having two plants together when they basically breed into a new spot gives a higher chance of improving stats. So the two stats will come together and mix into the new plant. In Regrowth, you only need a single plant to every time it expands, it will grow in stats. So what I want to see here is if we do an active sort of plot here, we'll do a test. So what we'll do is I'll do we'll say 10 growths, okay? 10 full growths into the middle spot. And this is how this works. This one has 2 doing it, and then this one will have 4. And what I'm going to do is every time I get a new growth, I will place one of the old ones until, I'll just keep going in a circle 10 times. And then what we'll do is we'll just look at the final growth tick after 10 growths into the center, and we'll see if there's any advantage of having 2 plants of differing stats in terms of improving your stats. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to bone meal this up just so that it goes faster. Because these are 111s, they will take a little bit longer. And I'm on the garden soil because it, in theory, should work faster. So what we'll do is, there we go. So we've got 1 growth here. So what I need to do is, I got to remember how this goes. So the active way of doing this means that you have to break, you have to basically actively be watching it. So you have to place down the new one and go like that and then replace my plants. Okay, and so this is how the active one will work. And we're not going to check the stats of any of the growth prior to it. We're only going to look at the stats of the final crop. So this one has gone once, and so we'll have to remember that. And this one has now also gone once. And so what I'm going to do is I'll probably cut out here because this is going to take a little while, and I'll come back once I have something is done, like one of my fields is done, and we'll examine the results. So I'll cut out here, and and this one also has one. So they've all gone once, so that's good. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to replace the crop with the new one. And there's my dogs barking. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so the first fields to be complete, and this took not quite 20 minutes, but close to 20 minutes. 2 of the fields on the garden soil completed, and as you can see, they're almost all 4 fields are almost completely done. So they're it's definitely faster. The garden soil is definitely faster than regular soil. As you can see, this is the hydrated farmland. It's not quite halfway done. And the basically non-hydrated farmland is maybe a little bit slower. It's really hard to say. We'll see if there's an actual difference between hydrated and non-hydrated. There should be in theory, right? But we will see. But the garden soil is definitely the fastest. And as you can see here, with the sprinkler and the agri-carnations, there's not much of a difference in growth rates between the two. They're very similar as just the agri-carnation, but it's definitely faster than just the sprinkler. And the difference between just the sprinkler and just the regular field is not significant. This field is growing relatively quickly. So that's pretty disappointing, actually. And so right now we are really close. This is growth. This is growth tick 8 on this one. So we are almost there. Get that bone mealed up. Get that down. Here, I'm gonna throw that out. The other two, the single and the quadruple one. This is growth tick 10. This is growth tick 10. So this is I'm just waiting on this one here, and once this gets to 10, I'll break all 3 of these seeds and we'll analyze them and we'll figure out what is actually going on, and we'll see if there's any sort of advantage to this type of growth rate. So I will come back once I get to growth tick 10 here, or one of these other fields grows to completion. But definitely the agri-carnation is good. The agri-carnation is definitely enhancing the growth rate, and the garden soil is also definitely an enhanced growth rate. So I'll put all my conclusions at the end of the video, but you can sort of see what's happening here as we go along. So once I get to growth tick 10 here, I'll be back, or one of these other fields grow, but I think this will happen first. So I'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, so we've got to 10 growth ticks now on all 3 of these fields. And so what I'll do is I'm going to break each of these plants. This should be the first slot. This will be the 2x2, which will be in the next slot. And then this one will be in the 3rd slot. And we will examine these seeds and see if there's a noticeable difference on the different active methods of growing your plants. And on the 1 seed, we got to a 10.64 after 10 growths, okay? On the 2x2 plus sign, we got to a 8.96. So if you look at the stats, that's 20. The stats here are 17.23, so maybe a little bit better here. And if we look on the 4, 10.98. So this again is looking like 19.27. So it does look like you are getting a benefit of growing crops together like this. So having 2 crops of the same next to each other is giving you a bit of an increase, and that's why growing in a field versus a line goes faster. So if you want to do active growth, you can, but regrowth offers you the opportunity to do passive growing, which allows you to basically set up fields in a set them and forget it kind of mentality. In regular AgriCraft, you cannot do that because you have weeds turned on, and you'll have weeds and those will wreck your plants. So definitely the plus sign definitely did give, the 4x4 plus sign definitely gave the best growth ticks, because one more, do I have the, so if I were to do this, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I would have to break this plant here and replace it with the 10.98. I was a little quick to the draw there. Oops, no. Okay. This plant here will probably be close to a 10-10-10, probably only like 1 or 2 more growth ticks will get you to the 10-10-10. So this method is far superior to the 2 or 1. So if you want to do an active growth, the plus method is still viable. Of course, you're gonna have to watch your plants, right? So if I take this seed here, this should be pretty close to a 10-10-10 at this point, would be my guess. 10-10-10. Took 11 ticks, so 11 growths got you to a 10-10-10. So that's pretty quick. So that is definitely a way to go. As you can see, without a sprinkler or with a sprinkler, they're about the same. I mean, there's not a real difference there. The agri-carnations are done, and that they were almost done, and that took about 26 minutes, and the agri-carnations with the sprinkler were at about the same. So I don't know that there's any advantage. And right now, to me, it doesn't look like the sprinkler is doing all that much in terms of additional growth ticks. We'll see. We'll see if there's any sort of advantage. And now looking at our, of course, our garden soils are completely done, of course. They were basically almost done last time we checked. And our hydrated fields look like they're probably growing a little bit faster than the fields without hydration. But we'll come back once majority of the hydrated fields have completed, and we'll see if there will be any really long-term difference between the sprinkler and the non-sprinklered system here. I don't know. It almost looks like this is going faster, but I guess we'll see. We'll come back in a minute, and we'll sort of see what our final results are. Okay, so 2 out of the 4 plots, and the third one is really close, have completed, and it's a little over 40 minutes to get to this point, so it's about double the time of the garden soil. And so not all 4 are done, but that's okay. And if we come over here, none of the non-hydrated plots have made it, but they're pretty close. So really only one spot left here, 1 spot left here, 2 spots here, and 2 spots here. And if you compare it to 1 spot left here and 2 spots left here, so it's pretty close. I don't know if there's a statistical significance to the growth rate between hydrated farmland and non-hydrated farmland. So if you don't have access to water, you can still grow your crops at a similar rate to the hydrated, but garden soil is definitely better. Over here, our sprinkler system, that's getting to the end, without the sprinkler system also getting to the end, very, very close. I can honestly say, based on this is only one test, but one test with sprinklers and one test without. There's not much of an increase with the sprinklers. So what I've done now is I've set up some iron seeds to see if there's a difference between having AgriCraft, and these are only 111 seeds, so these are going to take a little while, or if there's an advantage to having both AgriCraft and a sprinkler system on these magical crops, because you can't bone meal these crops. So sometimes sometimes things that increase growth rates only work on plants that require bone meal. So we'll see if there's an actual effect on these. The only issue here is because this is a 1-1-1, it's not going to be consistent throughout because it's going to improve as it goes along. So that's sort of a not going to keep it consistent, but I just want to sort of see if there's a difference between having just an agri-carnation or having these sprinklers and agri-carnation. So we will see what happens there. So yeah, like I said, it took about 40 minutes for these for the hydrated to make it, these 2, and then these 2 are not quite there yet, and none of our non-hydrated have made it, but they are very close. So almost 2 of them are done pretty much very shortly. So I would say between non-hydrated and hydrated, there is not a statistical significant difference. So whether you hydrate your land or not should not probably affect your crop growth, at least with basic seeds. I'll come back once the sprinkler and non-sprinkler have finished, and maybe I'll make some conclusions, and maybe we'll stop and break and see what happens with the iron seeds to see if I can make any conclusions out of that. So I'll be back in a minute, and we'll get some more results. Alright, so between having a sprinkler and not having a sprinkler, it's a toss-up. Based on this one test, the AgriCraft sprinkler isn't really adding much to the growth rate. So may not even be worth having the AgriCraft sprinkler. I may have to do some other testing to be sure. This could just be a one-off. Could have just got really lucky. I probably should have had a couple of setups like this here. As you can see, 2 out of the 4 are now basically completely done their 4x4s, and it's probably around 50 minutes to do that. And again here, we're still 1 away on the fully hydrated. So there's really not a statistically significant difference between the hydrated and non-hydrated, as I've said before. So whether you hydrate it or not, I don't think it's going to matter too much. And here, the iron plants are growing pretty slowly because they're just 1-1-1 and they're just starting to improve. This one right now seems to be moving faster. We'll see if there's any real statistical significant difference in the end. But yeah, without having a sprinkler versus having a sprinkler, especially if you're on garden soil, it doesn't look like the sprinkler is really adding too much. So yeah, I guess we will see. We'll see with the magical crops if there's any real difference on having a sprinkler along with the agrocarnation versus just having the agrocarnation. So we'll see. With wheat, the sprinkler agrocarnation setup was just as fast as just an agrocarnation. So yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll come back in a minute once the iron plants have grown a little bit, and we'll make our final conclusions on this tutorial, and we will be right back. Well, I can't say with certainty that the sprinkler agrocarnation duo here is doing a little bit better. I mean, it's doing a little bit better, but it might not be statistically significant. So I don't know whether, looks like I actually don't even have any sprinkler action going on anymore over here, because it looks like my sprinklers were empty and I wasn't paying attention. So they weren't quite empty, but we just need to fill that up with water. So it's well, it wouldn't have been too long because I just sort of looked away for a few minutes. So it's possible that having the sprinkler and the agrocarnation could give you a little bit of boost with the metal seeds or the magical crops, but again, it's not hugely significant compared to the just agrocarnation. So again, I don't know that the sprinklers are really actually doing all that much, at least based on my limited testing. So in conclusion for this episode / tutorial, tilled garden soil definitely makes regular crops grow faster than just regular soil. And so I want to thank Efficiency6, who commented in my first video that basically he would go straight for garden soil, get as much garden soil as you can. And that's really the way to go at the beginning of the game. And the way that he said that he would do that, let me see if I can get one of these. Let's put this out of here. Is it a composter? Yeah, composter. Oops, I don't want one of those. Nope, thank you. And we want some sticks. Not crop sticks, but sticks. Let's throw that away. So the way that he does it early in the game is farms a lot of trees once you have trees, and then you can place sticks in your composter like so, and it will make compost, and it's a quick way to make compost. Another way to make compost is from pumpkins. If you were to take pumpkins, once you grow up pumpkins, there we are. If I say take a stack of pumpkins and let's just get rid of something in my inventory here. I'll get rid of the composter for now. If you were to basically take these pumpkins, put them in a crafting grid, one pumpkin will turn into 4 seeds. So 64 pumpkins will turn into 4 stacks of seeds, and you can plop those into your composting bin and make compost, and that's a fast way of getting compost. So garden soil, definitely worth getting a ton of garden soil and using garden soil to plant your crops because it's at least 2 times faster. There's no real statistical significant difference between unhydrated and hydrated land for crop sticks, and the difference between crops on regular garden soil versus garden soil with a sprinkler, it's not really noticeable. And there's definitely a big difference with the there's definitely a big difference between the Agricarnation and the Sprinkler. The Agricarnation was much, much faster, and I didn't really notice any difference between having a combination of the Agricarnation and the Sprinkler. So based on these tests, if you have the mana and you have Agricarnations, definitely worth it for your plants. With the magical crops, there might be a slight boost from having a Sprinkler versus not having a Sprinkler with your Agricarnation. So I can't say definitively because I started with a 1/1/1 seed, and so it just might be a luck factor. And there's definitely luck factors. I would have to set up multiple fields to test that for sure. But definitely what we learned this time is garden soil is good. Garden soil is good. So like I said, I hope you've been enjoying this tutorial series. It takes a little bit of work to put it all together, so I hope you have been enjoying it. And if you have, please let me know in the comment section below. Also, if there's something that you would like to see me look at in the Regrowth mod pack specifically, let me know, and I will plan to do it in the future. These first few are going to definitely be taking place on the beginning of Agricraft, or beginning of Regrowth, such as Agricraft and Botania. Maybe some Mariculture, because there is some of that stuff early on. But yeah, if there is something you want me to look into, leave a comment, and I will do what I can. Until next time, Delgaro.